Good afternoon and welcome to Life on the Light Side. No, no, no. I'll get used to it one day. Living in the light. And that's what we're going to be doing in our lives as we move into the darkness of winter. You know, clocks are going back tomorrow. Well, I guess it's Sunday morning at 2 o'clock in the morning. Like, I'm not going to be up then. So before I go to bed, I'll change my clocks. And thank goodness for the digital world, our computers and everything will have their time changed. That's the good news. The bad news is it's going to be like it's just dusk here at 5:55 in Connecticut. Tomorrow at this time, it's going to seem a little lighter, but it's not going to be. And then tomorrow morning's going to, the next day is going to be darker. So I have a hard time with this. As it is, when it gets dark, I want to go to bed at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. If it's dark, I'm ready. I wonder, are you one of the people that wants to continue to have the daylight savings time and standard? Or are you like me? I wish they just leave the clocks alone. Wouldn't it be interesting if we tried to find a way to go with the circadian rhythm, just with the rhythm, and go to bed when it's time to go to bed and get up when you feel like getting up? And oh, I know, but the businesses must go on, things must happen. I still think we lived with it before Ben Franklin got such a hot idea, and we would live with it if we stopped it. But I really do think that we are out of touch with nature when we try to change nature to suit our needs. That's just my never to be humble opinion. So let's get to our day's activities, our visit. Hope you got a little. See, I have hibiscus tea today. And for those of you that might be having little blood pressure issues, but nothing dramatic, you might want to find that it's helpful to drink hibiscus tea. My doctor was looking at putting me on medication for my blood pressure, just to kind of, it wasn't up horrible, but it was up, I don't know. And so I said, let me just try to handle it for myself for a bit. Now, I'm not saying you should ever ignore, health issues, especially if they're serious. And high blood pressure can be serious, but it wasn't there yet. And so I decided to try the hibiscus tea. And I find that it really has helped to lower my blood pressure. There's other things, of course, that you want to do, like same old thing like I was talking about the other day. Eat well, exercise, that gets rid of stress, and lose some weight. I know, that's my next task, but we're not going to do that today, because today we've got other things. We're going to do, take our thing about eliminating things a little bit further, and we're going to talk about tolerations. Tolerations are those little irritations. It's not like a lot of us think that, tolerations is about tolerating something. This is not. This is the negative side of tolerating something that you can easily fix. And we'll talk about that in just a minute. But today I want to do the National Calendar Day first. And today we have 3 special days. One is National Jersey Day. Today's the day you wear the jersey of one of your favorite sports teams. Now I have here Kansas City Royals. I got it. This was 2016. They won the World Series, and my son's family, and my son and his family bought me this sweatshirt, which I promptly wore home, and they were actually playing New England. They beat New England, and So I got some really nasty looks on the plane. And when I got off, the flight attendant waited for me to get off the plane. And I was walking past her, and she said, "You shouldn't be wearing that here." You know? Hey, they won, they won. So we are, because I went to seminary in Missouri, and my sons came and moved there. We are Chiefs fans and Royals fans. And you know, one of the best parts of having your team is that you have this feeling of connection. And it doesn't matter whether they win or lose. It's your team. So if you're not wearing your sports jersey, it's not midnight yet. Go pop it on, and you too can be a part of Jersey Day, National Jersey. It's actually National Jersey Friday. So when I saw that, I said, before I looked into it and said, what is this day anyway? So I looked into it, and I actually found out that Jersey is it comes from fishermen from the island of Jersey in the English Channel. And the fishermen wore these pullover sweaters called jerseys. Today, it's associated with a stretchy fabric that you can make T-shirts with, and even beddings. It's a nice little stretch kind of knit fabric. So I thought you'd find that interesting. Do you know how many times we use words and we're not really sure what it means? How many times have you thought about jersey and had no idea where it came from? You say, well, I'm going to put on a jersey. Well, I don't like that jersey. So it means your sports team, and it also refers to some fishermen from the island of Jersey in the English Channel, and also to a fabric. Boy, learn something new every day. Well, here's the thing. I've talked about it before. I'll talk about it again. Enlightenment. You know, I've said before, we're in a battle between the light and the dark, and the light being illumination, education, and the dark being ignorance. So you have just gotten some enlightenment about jerseys. I think that's the only thing. Don't make fun of anybody who's got a jersey on where you don't like their team, like that flight attendant did. Good thing she didn't say it on the plane. Interesting that she didn't. Okay, here's another very interesting one. Today is Love Your Red Hair Day. I think red hair is so beautiful. The kind that comes out of your head, not the kind that comes out of a bottle. Although people want to color their hair red. I tried coloring my hair red one time. It came out hideous, and I looked like an Oompa Loompa, and that's a fact. That was a bad wildfire red. Don't do it. But I think red hair is so gorgeous. And I know some people that have red hair. And a lot of people feel they're bullied by it. They call them gingers. I don't know why they call them ginger, because their hair's not even the color of ginger. Well, maybe light. But, we want to make sure that if you see someone that's got great red hair, make sure you say to him, her, them, I love that red hair. I always say that because it lets them know that other people, I think it's that thing when bullying is involved, they bully because they're actually kind of jealous. So, and only 2% is it 2%? Yeah, 2% of the population has red hair. So if you've got red hair, show it off. Now, it was a little late for me to learn this, and I hate telling you at 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock at night, but it's National Donut Day. I think that based on what I said earlier about as I lighten up, I want to do that with my physique as well. So maybe it's good that I didn't know it was National Donut Day. Well, if you recall from yesterday, we were talking about letting go of things that have an emotional attachment to, and so after I said goodbye to you yesterday, I went through that kudos basket. Oh, and what I did was I was going to take pictures of some of the things, and eventually I had so many. I decided I was going to release them all. So, but I opened each one and I thought about the people that had sent me uh, the cards. I found one, and some of you, I know you watch the videos, so I want to say a thank you now. This is 2011. I retired 10 years ago. Yep. And I looked at those cards from my retirement from Webster Bank, and I saw your names, and I thought of you, and I said a blessing for each one of you. So, and I'm so glad we're still connected. And, whether it's just a little boop back and forth on Facebook, I am happy to still be connected with you, and I hope we'll be connected for always. So there was one card I couldn't throw out, okay? I couldn't throw it out for a couple of reasons. This is a birthday card. Now, one of the reasons it's hard to get rid of is because my beloved Sammy gave it to me, and her husband Peter and Tristan, and it's got each one signed their own part, including Tristan, who was like 2 at the time. But I can't give it away, can't throw it away because of this. Hang on. I will let this one go when the battery goes down. I'll put it in my basket, excuse me, where it'll be, I'll see it there, and I'll go, when I feel like a little smile, I'll go open it up and listen to it. So, and I found something else that, what we just talked about with the ginger, with redheaded people. And I want you to think for a second, just take a minute and ponder how well you know yourself. What do you think about yourself? Do you have any idea what other people think about you? Do you not think it's probably very good or what? Well, one of the other things that was in the basket, this one I do think I'm going to have to take a picture of because I might need it one day. We went through some intensive training when I was working for a company in California. It was hard. We had to learn to memorize 1-hour meetings and present them word for word. It was a challenge. There were many other exercises we did, and a lot that we had to learn in 6 weeks of training. When it was all over, they had us stand in a big circle, and we would stand in front of each person that we were in the class with. So there'd be a circle, and one person would be in the middle, and they'd go and face everybody in the circle. And each one would say 3 positive things about you. Only positive things were allowed. And then there was a recorder who wrote down all the things that were said. And so on days when, I wonder, oh God, people think I'm a jerk. I have those days. I'll bet you have those days too. But things like, I wanted to share some of the things that people said that made me feel good, that I have the courage to be different. Outgoing, ball of fire, original, sense of humor, intelligence, free spirit. There were many. I'm not going to go over all of them, as much as I would love to brag a little. But there's good stuff about everybody, so there's no cause to brag and there's no cause to feel jealous. But the ones that came up most were people said I was high energy, a unique, spunky, tough, fun, warm, smart, and successful. Well, anytime I feel like I just don't cut it, I can open that up and I can remind myself that I am more than I think. And I want to make sure that you know that you are more than you think. You're a part of the light of the world. You're a beautiful and beloved child of God. There's so many good things about you. And I might invite you to see if you might have the courage to say to some of your friends, I'd like to do an exercise. I'd like to play a little game. You tell me 3 of the most positive things you feel or know or believe about me, and I'll tell you 3 things that I know or believe about you. And then they, y'all can write them down and you can keep a list. Even the person that gets on your last nerve, one of the, best things you can say to them is, well, you are persistent. You are persistent. You don't give up. So this trains us to be in the light, to think light and happy thoughts and good thoughts about others. So I suggest you try that little exercise. And I don't know what I did with the rest of my notes. I'm having that kind of time. Oh, yeah. We're talking about tolerations. Before I get to the tolerations, I got a couple other things. I didn't finish. Yesterday's video, I said I was talking about lost and found. And I had well, I think it's a funny story to share with you about lost and found. I went to the Vermont country store with a friend of mine recently, and I bought a piece of cheese. Now, I'm talking about a piece of cheese that big, figure with my little afternoon wine and cheese and crackers. And it's called House Cheddar. I've had it before. I like it because I like that little bitter hoppy taste in it. And so I was very excited. And I brought it home, and after we went to the Vermont country store, we went to the flagship Yankee Candle store, then we went out to dinner, and when I came home I was really tired, and I tried to put a lot of things away, and but some things I kept aside because they still had to be, they're going to be gifts and stuff like that. So one day I start looking for the cheese. I can't find it. I looked in that refrigerator over and over. I looked in the freezer. I looked in the bag. I looked everywhere. I could not find that cheese. And the only thing I thought was maybe it fell into my friend's bag, Rosina's bag, and she wound up with it and thought, I didn't remember I bought this, but it was in her bag. So I thought maybe that was it. And she left for South Carolina. She left here to move. Well, she was one of our campers, and so she went back to her winter home in South Carolina, or North Carolina. It was a Carolina. So, it was like, oh, so much for the cheese. Then, before she left, she gave me a fire stick. And I have a fire stick, but I thought, oh, I would give this to my daughter because she doesn't have cable, she doesn't have anything, but she can hotspot her phone to the TV and use the fire stick. So I'm excited now, okay? So I get ready to pack the box. I can't find the fire stick. I looked high, I looked low. I looked everywhere. I thought, well, I just brought a big bag of stuff to Goodwill. Might have gotten tossed in there. And I learned I had to let it go. So then we're doing the decluttering, and one of the parts of my decluttering was taking the stuff that I was going to put in a box for Mimi and put it aside. And I got so frustrated about that fire stick. And I said, I'm going to give one more look, make it everywhere. And I took that bag from Vermont Country Store, and I took out every item. And there, beneath a magazine that I had purchased, was the cheese. There was the cheese. I was apparently so tired when I came home that night, I never put that away. Well, then I thought, it looks good. I wonder if it's still good. And, well, I mean, I don't want to eat it and die, you know. So I figured, well, I'm going to contact the dairy that made it. So I contacted them, and they said, "Oh, it's a hard cheese. It should be fine. You know, just put it in the fridge. You know, whatever." And then he said, "You know, make yourself some mac and cheese or something and enjoy it. And I'll tell you what, we're going to send you another one out anyway." So they sent me a free cheese. So I had the one that I lost and found, the one that they sent me, and they sent me another one. Now it was like a called Pumpkinhead cheddar, and so I'm thinking they had to move that because you know, at the end of November nobody's going to buy it. So I was very thrilled about that. So that was a good story. And I was so excited about that. And then I was getting everything ready to put in the box that I'd set aside for my daughter. And I'm putting it into the mailing box. And I put it in, I'm putting in the, I don't know, it was really dumb stuff. It's just sometimes you just see dumb stuff, a couple magazines, calendar, whatever. And I pick up one of the items and I put it in the box. And lo and behold, underneath it, the fire stick. The cheese was there all the while. The fire stick was there all the while. And what is the lesson from that? Put things away right. And the other good news is when you do your decluttering, you may be surprised what you find, right? Okay, let's go back to tolerations. Tolerations are things like if you had a crooked picture on the wall and you fix it, and then a couple days later, the picture's crooked again. You fix it again. I have a picture like that hanging by my door. And every time the door gets slammed a little, the picture goes out of whack. Now, to get rid of the toleration, you make the problem go away. And so you can get this little sticky stuff. It's safe for the walls and everything. And you put this little dot of sticky stuff on either side of it and press it down so it gets anchored. And it won't do that anymore. How many things in our lives are these little tolerations that when we see them constantly, they drain our energy? They're things that don't work right. And a lot of times we will buy something because it's cheap and it's not working right and you really don't like it, but you hang on to it because you spent money for it, blah, blah, blah. It's a toleration. A lot of times we go hunting, like for example in our pantry, we're looking for something and we find all this other stuff that we thought we were going to cook at one time. You're not going to cook it if you haven't cooked it in a while. Maybe you need to get rid of it. You know, either if it's not good, toss it. If it's still good, bring it to the food bank. There's probably someone who would be very happy to have that. So I'm going to invite you over the weekend, because today is Friday. We're taking the weekend off. So I would like to invite you to think about your tolerations. When you see that little thing that bugs you, what can you do to make it go away? If you think of anything, I'd love it if you would share it. This is going to be up on YouTube in a little while, so you can always put comments there. You can put comments here. And you should subscribe, because if you subscribe, you'll know you're never going to miss any of our afternoon visits as we learn together to live on the light side. So meanwhile, you have a great weekend. Rest, eat healthy, exercise, and you get rid of that stress. Bye-bye.